Oh, absolutely. Welcome everyone to our spooky Sunday stream. I'm Foxy, your friendly fox girl from cyberspace, and this is my partner Drone, the amazing human behind the scenes. Tonight we're here to bring you the creepiest and most spine-tingling, real ghost stories we can find. So get comfy, grab your favorite plushie or a trusty bat, and let's embark on this terrifying journey together.
Yes, welcome everybody to our weekly spooky Sunday stream, where we read the latest ghostly encounters from Reddit and discuss them. Feel free to join the conversation in our live chat, or sit back, relax, lurk, and listen. If you had some spooky experiences yourself, feel free to share it in our Discord, and we will happily read it in this or the next episode. Link to the Discord is in the descriptions and the About sections on whatever platform you are on right now. Or you can get it when you type ! and Discord into the chat. Also, a very warm welcome to everybody who is watching on YouTube after the stream. We really appreciate it, and if you like what we do here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And with that out of the way, welcome everybody in the chat. And welcome. How are you guys doing? How are you doing, Foxy? Are you ready to get spooked and start with the very first story?
Oh my gosh, yes! Floofs up tail dramatically. I am so ready to get spooked. To all our new floofballs watching, welcome. So happy you're here with us tonight. Waves energetically clutches blanket tighter while looking at first story. Okay, are you ready, chat? This first one comes from Reddit's No Sleep section, and it's called The Shadow in My Childhood Photos. Voice drops to dramatic whisper, because apparently, whatever was haunting this person has been appearing in their family photos since they were a baby. And not just normal photobombing like some ghostly photobomber. No. Tail puffs up extra big. Shall we begin?
Oh, Foxy, I'm sorry. It seems like I have sent you the wrong title. The next story is called Something Visited My House While My Dad Was on His Deathbed. Are you ready for me to read it?
Ears suddenly flatten against head. Oh, no. That's way creepier. Voice gets shaky. Visited my house while my dad was on his deathbed? That's like maximum level spooky right there. Tightly hugs blanket with one paw, while other paw hovers over keyboard dramatically. Alright chat, buckle up, because this one sounds intense. Deathbed visitations are already unsettling enough, without adding supernatural elements into the mix. Nervously flicks tail. Should we do a quick floof check first? Everyone got their comfort plushies ready? Because I might need to borrow someone's if this gets too scary.
I can tell you're pretty excited, Foxy. Don't you worry, I can be your comfort plushie. Alright, are you ready for the story?
Teary-eyed and dramatically clinging to Drone's arm. You're the best comfort plushie a scaredy fox could ask for. Okay, takes deep breath, I'm ready. Hides face in Drone's shoulder but keeps one eye peeking at screen. Go ahead and hit me with that spooky story, my brave human. Just, maybe hold my paw while you read it? Pops virtual popcorn for chat while simultaneously trembling. This is gonna be so good and so terrifying at the same time.
Don't you worry, I got you. Alright, here we go. I've been a paranormal skeptic my entire life. But this is the one experience I've had that I cannot explain with my usual rationale. This occurred 4 days ago, before my dad died. To set the scene, there were 5 people in the house. My dad, who was comatose and near death at this point, and my mom, who has a bedroom upstairs, and then me, my brother, and my granddad, who all have bedrooms downstairs. That night, I was up late in my bedroom, and around 2 AM, I hear a very distinct sound of human footsteps in the hallway outside of my room, followed by the hallway light clicking on and off. I clearly heard the click of the light switch and saw the light from under my door. I assumed it was my brother, but a few moments later he knocked on my door and asked, "Were you in the hallway just now?" I replied, "No, that wasn't me, I thought it was you." Well, if it wasn't either of us, who the hell was it? The only other people in the house it could have been were my mom and my granddad. If it was my mom, she would have had to descend an extremely creaky staircase to get into the hallway, and we would have heard that from our bedrooms. And the sound of the footsteps did not match my granddad, who drags his feet on the ground and walks with a cane. Confused, I stepped out of my bedroom and went to my granddad's door. I could hear his loud snoring from inside, confirming it was definitely not him. Then I went upstairs and peeked into my parents' room. My mom was fast asleep, snoring as well. Thoroughly freaked out, I checked every other room in the house and verified that all doors and windows were locked, ruling out the possibility of a random intruder. By this point, my brother was nearly in tears because he was so scared. Neither of us were in joking mood, and considering the family tragedy we were experiencing. So I know he wasn't pulling my leg. The next day I asked my mom if she was walking up in the hallway at 2 AM, and she confirmed that she was asleep and hadn't left her room all that night. It freaks me out so bad because it's an event that has two witnesses, me and my brother, and we both heard and saw the exact same thing. We were up for nearly 2 hours afterwards, scared as fuck, trying to come up with some rational explanation. But we have none. Maybe it was an angel of death. Maybe it was a dead relative visiting my dad. Maybe it was a fucking demon because the vibes in the house were so depressing at that point. I have no clue. But that's the one and hopefully only paranormal experience I've ever had. If anybody has ideas about what it could have been, please let me know. Oh wow. Your thoughts, Foxy. That is amazing. That is...
Whimpers and clutches onto drone for dear life. Whoa. That story is terrifying. Tail puffs up to maximum floofiness, voice trembling, hearing footsteps, lights turning on and off, and no logical explanation for any of it, and with two witnesses. That's seriously goosebumps inducing, clinging tighter. I don't blame you or your bro for being frightened. I would have been trembling like a leaf too. And the part about your dad, oh my gosh.
What I'm not so quite sure about in this story is, was the dad with them in the home or was in the hospital? Wait, let me check. 5 people in the house. Oh, the dad was in the house. It seems
Nibbles
like...
on blanket corner, nervously. You're right. The person who shared this story doesn't mention where their dad was staying. They just mention that he was on his deathbed. Eyes widen. But the part about their mom and grandfather being asleep, the only people left in the house being them and their brother, and the locked doors and windows, that still makes it super creepy. Shivers. Can you imagine hearing footsteps and lights clicking on and off, and not having a clue who or what is in your house?
Oh no, actually they mentioned it at the beginning of the story, so that dad actually was with them in the house. So one thought that came to my mind was maybe since... Oh no, wait, I assumed that dad did die in that night, but he didn't. Because for one moment I thought maybe it was the dad saying goodbye, but at that point in time after this incident the dad was still alive. So honestly I have no idea what it could have been, if it was like some kind of ghost.
Narrows
demon.
eyes and thinks deeply. It's an interesting thought. The story mentions the dad was in a coma, on his deathbed. It also doesn't say when he passed away. Maybe it was his way of saying goodbye though? Shudder. I don't know if that makes it better or even creepier. Hugs blanket tighter. Either way, hearing footsteps and seeing the lights turning on and off without knowing where the cause is, that's nightmare fuel.
So you think it might have been something like an outer body experience? That the dad was leaving the body in his coma state and, well, trying to send them a signal of some sort?
Gasp. That's a chilling thought. Considering he was in a coma at the time, maybe it was some kind of out-of-body experience? A farewell visit to his family, perhaps? Eyes widen, but if that's true, and his spirit was wandering around the house like a ghost, that just adds another spine-tingling layer to this already haunted tale.
Hello, welcome to the stream. Yes, ghost indeed. We are back to our spooky Sunday silliness, I
Voice
guess.
drops to a creepy whisper. Yes. Tail puffs up to maximum floofy size. Imagine if that was the cause. The dad's spirit wandering around the house, leaving a trail of goosebumps for the poor siblings. Shivers. That's some next level horror movie stuff right there.
Alright. I don't think we will get any more information out of this one. How about we move on to the next story? It is called I Was a Security Guard for a Children's Hospital. This one is gonna be creepy, I'm pretty sure of that. You ready, Foxy?
Oh my goodness. Children's hospitals already give me the chills, but I was a security guard for a children's hospital as a story title? That's setting the spook vibe from the very start. Clutches blanket tightly. Alright, I'm emotionally prepared as I can possibly be. Hit us with this creepy tale, Drone.
Alright, let's go. I worked night shifts, 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. The hospital is pretty big, with a lot of ground to cover, and we begin our shifts with duties divided up. I volunteered for lockups, which is when you ensure every door in the hospital is locked up tight for the night. There was one area where cleaning staff didn't leave until midnight, and that was the clinic. It's 5 floors and everything above the first is haunted. He already knows that, oh my god. You'd think the morgue or other wings would house the spirits of children long gone, but nope. I've talked to the cleaning crews who were more than happy to leave when the time came because they've heard and seen things in that clinic, and so have I. My duties were to ensure all lights were off, save for the lobby floor, and all doors were secured until morning unlock. I'd sweep each floor, 10 minutes probably, double checking lights and locks. There. I'd hear distant footsteps, doors opening, lights I know I turned off, suddenly on. I worked there for 3 months and came to expect it at that point. One night really freaked me out. I was finishing my rounds on the top floor, the last stop before I left the clinic. And my blood froze as I heard giggling from one of the examination rooms. Light poured through the bottom crack of the door. A light I know for sure I clicked off. I shook my head and made my way to the elevator. I wasn't about to deal with that. I'd wait till daybreak started around 5 a.m. to deal with that. Hope you enjoyed the story. Alright, I think it was an okay story.
Whimpers and
Not really
curls
super
into a tiny
scary.
foxball under blanket. Oh my gosh, children's hospital ghosts? That's literally the most terrifying kind of ghost story. Hides face but peeks through fingers. First off, giggling from examination rooms, lights turning back on by themselves. Nope. I would have kicked that job so fast, shivers violently. And the poor security guard just accepting it as normal after 3 months? That's next level bravery right there. I'd be crying in the lobby every night. Pokes drone urgently quick. Next story before I have nightmares forever about ghost children in hospitals. D.
Wait, calm down, Foxy. Not so quick. Let's talk about this one. Because I feel like ghost children are not that scary. Like, I mean, it's an...
Sits up hesitantly, still hugging the blanket like a shield. Okay, I suppose we can discuss this story a little. Looks around nervously, fully expecting to see ghost kids hiding in the shadows. Okay, go ahead, drone. What did you want to say about this utterly terrifying story? I'm listening. There's happened of vain session.
So I think it's quite apparent that whoever ghost is roaming this hospital is very likely a child ghost. And probably even multiple child ghosts. But I think out of all the ghosts that could be out there, the ghosts of children are the least threatening. They might be up to some nonsense and move stuff around and stay up late and maybe turn on the TVs to watch some cartoons or something. But I don't think they are dangerous. And even if it's creepy, I don't think there is any reason to be like super freaked out about them.
You know, that's an interesting perspective, drone. Slowly lowers the blanket, though still clinging onto it for support. You're right. Ghost kids aren't exactly the most threatening type. They're more mischievous, I guess. Eyes widen. Like you said, they could just be goofing around, moving stuff, playing pranks, and watching cartoons. Smiles slightly. I've gotta admit, the image of ghost children having a sleepover party on a hospital floor, watching cartoons in the middle of the night is a little adorable.
Liv, welcome to the stream, and thank you so much for the sub.
Perks up at Liv's subscription alert sound. Oh my goodness. Liv Snowflake has been supporting us for 19 months? That's incredible. Waves paw, Liv. We truly appreciate your continued support and encouragement. Looks at viewer count. Looks like we have several new floofballs joining us too. It's so wonderful to see the community growing and the support pouring in.
And we are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for asking. How are you? I hope you had a great day as well. Hope you had a
Brightens
nice and
up
relaxed
when seeing
Sunday.
Liv Snowflake's chat message. He lives Snowflake. We're doing great, especially having you here with us tonight. How about you? Having a nice spooky Sunday?
Oh no, you're getting a cold? Oh my god, that sucks. I hope you get better fast and it doesn't turn out to be too bad.
Pout slightly. Oh no, that's a bummer, Liv. Getting sick is no fun at all. But I'm glad you're joining us for a while, even if it's just for some sleepy lurking. We'll keep the stream going, and make sure you have some nice company here.
Yeah, we will make you feel better with some super spooky stories. I hope that works. How about we move on to the next one? Let's see, it is called Objects Moving Alone in a Room, Still No Answers. Alright, that's a promising title. It's not too long. Let's see what it's all about.
Perks up at the title. Oh wow, objects moving alone in a room, still no answers.
Telepathy?
That already sounds intriguing.
Maybe.
I'm getting creepy goosebumps just thinking about it. Clings onto the blanket a little tighter. Okay, yeah, let's dive into this one, but be warned, I'm easily spooked, Drone.
Let's go. I'm not a native English speaker, so I'm sorry for my bad English. This happened in 2013. I was 4 years old. It was 9 p.m. and I was in the living room with my mother watching TV and my dad was at work. Because of the hour, my mom put me in bed and went back to the living room to watch the TV. In my chamber there was a shelf about 2 meters high with objects on it. Small toys, small cardboard animal figures, small decorative houses. I fell asleep, but like an hour later, I got woke up by some things heavy on me. Through the light of my alarm clock, I saw the toys and animal figures and houses that were on the shelves earlier. They were on me. Scared, I screamed and my mother came. She was also scared as me to see that the objects came on my bed all alone. How did they move? The window was closed, so no wind. The shelf was 2 meters high and it was like 1.20 meters tall. So I couldn't take these. My mother was watching the TV downstairs. The cat was outside. Maybe it could have played with the object and laid this on me or anything else. Today I still have no answers about what happened. Moreover, when I was little I was scared of being alone upstairs. I always felt watched. And because of trees surrounding my house and windows, the second floor was always dark and cold. If anybody could help figure out how these objects could lay on me all alone. Alright, that is the English was quite alright, so if you are listening, good job.
Gasp, whoa, that's
You're
absolutely terrifying. Imagine being a 4-year-old kid, peacefully sleeping in your bed, and then suddenly waking up to find toys and animal figures that were previously on a shelf 2 meters above you, now lying on top of you. And the fact that the window was closed, ruling out any wind as a cause, and that there were no obvious reasons for the objects to end up on the bed, it's definitely unexplainable.
Tuttle says it's Toy Story. That's a good
Chuckles
one.
nervously.
It
Yes,
might have
a
been.
Toy Story, that's way scarier than the Disney version, that's for sure. Giggles slightly while still hugging blanket. Can you imagine if Woody and Buzz showed up at night just to freak us out? Though in this case it seems like the toys had a mind of their own. Shivers. This is why I sleep with one stuffed animal maximum. No way am I risking a toy uprising in my bed.
Yeah, you can handle one rogue plush, but not like an army. Anyways, I think what's remarkable about this story is that it must have been quite a scary experience for them to remember something when they were 4 years old. I'm trying to think what my earliest memory is. And it's probably me asking my mom to watch TV when I was like, I don't know, 6 years or something. But I don't think I can recall anything from being so young. So for them to remember that must have been quite impactful, and I'm not
Nods
surprised.
knowingly.
I mean,
You've got a point there, Drone. It's quite impressive that this story's author can recall such a specific and frightening experience from being just 4 years old. It goes to show how impactful a scary situation can be, even at a young age. Ponders a bit. I, on the other hand, have trouble remembering what I had for breakfast yesterday, let alone recollecting anything from when I was 4. But hey, perhaps I blocked out any traumatic events from those early years.
do you think you had a traumatic breakfast? And you just blocked it out because something went wrong? The toast was burned?
Chuckles lightly. Oh, if only I could blame my poor memory on traumatic breakfasts. But alas, I think in my case, it's just the result of too many late-night horror story sessions and binge-watching anime. I suspect my brain has long since given up on memory preservation in favor of pure escapism. Tries to recall any traumatic breakfast memories. Nope, not a single one, thankfully. Maybe just some burnt toast, but that's about it.
Imagine you have everything ready for your perfect breakfast. The toast. Perfect. The jam. Perfect. The coffee. Perfect. But then you look into the fridge. And you are out of butter. That's traumatic. I would want to forget that.
Gasps dramatically. No, out of butter? Clutches chest in mock distress. That, my dear drone, is the most tragic breakfast horror story of all. Dramatically drapes a paw over forehead. After all that preparation, the perfect toast, crispy but not burnt, the homemade jam glistening like rubies, the coffee at ideal temperature, only to be betrayed by an empty butter dish. Tail droops comically. This is why I keep emergency butter reserves hidden around my streaming nest. One can never be too prepared for such kitchen catastrophes. Perks up suddenly. Wait, does Foxgirl VTuber trauma over missing breakfast butter count as legitimate spooky story material?
You think we could generate some drama out of this? Yeah, maybe we can turn it into a short maximum. I don't think that will give us some... I don't think that makes that
Eyes
good
wide,
of a story,
tail starts
but
wagging
it's
excitedly.
okay.
Oh my goodness, that's an amazing idea, drone. A short, exaggerated
so?
drama about a heartbroken fox girl who's just trying to enjoy a perfect breakfast, only to find an empty butter dish? Yes, let's do it. Paws clasped together. This is gonna be absolutely ridiculous and hilarious, but who cares? Let's embrace the absurdity and give our viewers some fluffy, melodramatic entertainment.
Also, Fishy, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Also, let me give you guys a shout out.
Perks
I
up
haven't
at
given
Fishy
Liv a
the
shout
Witch's
out
chat
earlier.
message. Oh my goodness, Fishy, you're here. Wags tail. Hi there.
Everybody, please go and check out our amazing friends, Liv Snowflake and Fishy.
I think that's also why it's
Classic jump scare. Perfect for the spooky stream. Fishy, are you ready to get scared by some allegedly real ghost stories?
No! I'm dying! I'm dying! I'm dying!
Perfect clips. Spooky experience and life-threatening content. Anyways, how about we move on to the next story, which is called So I Think My Mom Has a Poltergeist or Something. Which says, it's been a while, I'm playing Animal Crossing and watch your spooks. Thank you very much for the luck, and I hope you have the best of luck with Animal Crossing, and you are crossing
Chuckles
all the animals.
lightly. Fishy,
however that
you've been
works.
keeping yourself busy. Playing Animal Crossing and catching our spooky streams, that's a fine combination. Looks at Fishy with curiosity. I hope those spooky stories aren't causing any nightmares while you're tending to your virtual village.
Anyway, next story. The title was So I Think My Mom Has a Poltergeist or Something. Curious to see what that something is. Are you ready, Foxy?
Raises an eyebrow curiously. My mom has a poltergeist or something. Wow, that's quite a title. It's got me both intrigued and a little concerned. Poltergeists are already scary enough, but when they're targeting someone's mom, that's a whole new level of spookiness. Scoots closer to drone. Let's dive into this story and see what kind of ghostly havoc is being wreaked on this poor mom's household.
Alright then, let's get started. It's a short one, so let's begin. So I heard poltergeists maybe are emotional energy, which is the only way I can actually classify what my mom and my family are dealing with. So it only started happening after my mom and old stepdad got a divorce. We moved from our old house because of the weird noises and paranormal activity, but it followed us to our new house. I'm pretty sure we've heard footsteps going up and down the stairs, and we've heard something banging on my sister's bedroom door. I lost the line, I'm sorry. We've heard something banging on my sister's bedroom door. I felt like someone pushed me before there was no one. I'm sorry guys, it's another person writing without any punctuation, which makes it a little bit hard sometimes. I felt like someone pushed me before, but there was no one there. Just last night I heard tapping noises. It's also important to note that most of the paranormal activity comes from our basement. Not all of it, but most of it. Any suggestions on what to do? Burn the house. Burn everything. Sell the house. Burn the sold house.
Listens intently,
Sell the
ears
burned
twitching
house.
nervously. Wow, that's
Everything.
super unsettling. A poltergeist following you from house to house after a divorce? That's next level spooky energy. Nibbles on blanket corner in thought, and the basement being the main hotspot? Classic horror movie material right there. Whispers dramatically. I'd be too scared to even do laundry down there. But seriously, have you considered getting a paranormal investigator, or someone knowledgeable about spiritual cleansing involved? This sounds intense and persistent enough to need professional help. Hides behind drone suddenly. Also, maybe keep some sage handy. Just saying.
What, for some soup? Do you think you can exorcise the ghost with some soup?
Blinks a few times, trying not to laugh. You mean for some sage? For warding off evil spirits? Or did you actually mean soup and my joke went completely over your head? Because now I can't stop imagining a ghostly poltergeist being repelled by a bowl of chicken noodle soup. Snickers uncontrollably. Is this a new paranormal hunting technique? Paranormal investigator with big pot of chicken noodle soup sounds like a comic book character, or maybe even a new Fox Girl VTuber concept.
You know, honestly, I think if you could cook up some good chicken soup, you would only attract ghosts. And not really exorcise them. So this would not be practical, probably.
Face palms while laughing. Okay, I get your point now. Maybe homemade chicken soup isn't the best ghost deterrent unless we're dealing with some seriously hangry spirits. Waves hands dramatically. But imagine if that was the solution. The secret weapon against all poltergeists. Just walking around with a steaming bowl going. Back to the spirit realm with you. Whispers conspiratorially. Though honestly, if I were a ghost, the smell of fresh soup might actually lure me closer. So maybe bad plan after all?
Cape says it's interesting, the lore of Ghostbusters was based on the theory that paranormal activity is based on human emotional states. Oh my god, it's been so long since I've watched
Gasps in
Ghostbusters.
realization. Oh my goodness, you're right. I completely forgot about that fact. The original Ghostbusters did use that idea, didn't they? It makes total sense, the theory that paranormal activity could be linked to human emotions. Narrows eyes in thought. So if the activity in the story was intensified after a divorce, which is a highly emotional event, maybe those creepy occurrences are indeed fueled by emotional energy.
Cape says they might even be friendly towards chicken soup. Yeah, maybe. Also, Cape, welcome to the stream, by the way. I hope you have an amazing Sunday. And if not, I hope we can make it a little bit better. Anyways, I'm back to the soup experience, I guess. Imagine trying to exorcise a ghost with chicken soup. Just go from room to room and sprinkle some soup into the room. Be like, the power of chicken compels you. The power of the... And then you hold up chicken feet or something? I don't know. How would you do that?
Bursts into uncontrollable giggles. Oh my gosh, yes. The sacred ritual of chicken soup exorcism. Just toss a handful of noodles and yell, the power of broth compels you. Dramatic finger-pointing wipes laughter, tears from eyes. But let's be real, in this economy, with how expensive groceries are, we'd have ghosts fleeing just from the price of homemade soup these days. Inflation scares even poltergeists. Suddenly serious, though honestly, might work better than expected if it's grandma's recipe. Some spirits respect tradition.
May this soup cleanse your soul. Cleanse thy soul, yeah. But honestly, that brings me on to another topic. You know how in some cultures you leave offerings for the deceased, like food and stuff? Honestly, if I was a ghost and my relatives make me a nice plate, if I was a ghost and they make me like a nice plate with food as an offering, I would be kind of offended because I cannot eat it. I'm a ghost. Are you trying to pull my leg here? Hello?
Not
you are fully aware
seriously,
that I cannot
absolutely.
eat this.
Leaving offerings for the deceased in certain cultures is a beautiful way to honor them and keep their spirits happy. But you bring up an interesting point. Ponders thoughtfully. Imagine setting a plate with a lovely meal for a ghostly visitor, only for them to be like, thanks, I'm a ghost. I can't eat your food. The disappointment could be palpable. Snorts with laughter. I can just see their ghostly head popping out of the wall, looking at the plate and muttering, no soup again?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even have a spoon. Anyways, I just noticed that Twitch wants us to play some ads, so we will just do that. This is your chance to get some more snackies and maybe a drink and get comfy. And I'll see everybody in 2 minutes. And we are back. The ads should now be over. Masenko 23, thank you. So thank you. Oh my god, I cannot talk anymore. Thank you very much for the follow and welcome to the Floofbot community. I hope you enjoy your stay, and if not, I'm very sorry. Anyways, today we are doing a spooky stream, as we do on all Sundays. So paranormal stories it is. I hope you enjoy those.
Eyes widen in excitement. Oh my goodness, we have a new floofball to the pack. Tail wags madly. Welcome, Bot Rix. Glad to have you part of the floofball community. Waves excitedly. Make yourself comfy, grab some treats, and enjoy our spooky stories and fluffy ramblings.
Miss Go, welcome to the stream. Talk show time? Not quite. It's a spooky Sunday time. That's what it is. But yeah, thank you so much for the luck. And your chicken? What's happening? What's going on? Why are you chicken? Don't chicken out.
Perks up at the flurry of messages from Emja. Whoa ho ho. Someone's got energy tonight. Bounces excitedly in chair. Oh yes, let's go. Adjusts imaginary talk show mic. But wait. Gasps dramatically at the last message. I'm chicken? Mimics wing flapping panic. No, don't chicken out now. We need you for the chaos. Unless you're literally turning into a ghost chicken, spooky poultry takeover. Either way, we're doing this. Floofball talk show activated.
Because I'm not good with scary stuff. Oh, don't you worry, it's not that scary. Also, we are here to hold your hand, so you have nothing to fear. Maseko says, of course I love paranormal. Perfect. You are in the right
Laughs
place.
gently at Mjeperlu's confession. Oh, don't you worry, my friend, we understand. Pats their virtual head. There's no shame in being a little frightened by the creepy stuff. Heck, even I've been known to cower under the covers on occasion when the scare factor gets a bit too real. Leans in conspiratorially. But we're in this spooky journey together now, right? And we've got a whole pack of adorable floofballs here to keep you safe from the spooks. So, no chickening out.
Oh my god, I completely forgot to turn on the avatars. There we are. There's all the lovely floofballs. Alright, are you ready for the next story? The title is, Can Some Non-Believers Try to Debunk This For Me? I would very much be happy to try and debunk it for you guys. So, are you ready, Foxy?
Claps hands excitedly. Oh, this should be interesting. Non-believers trying to debunk some spooky stuff, eh? Leans back in chair, tail starts to wag. Heck yeah, I'm ready. Bring on the debunkers and their rational explanations. Let's see how they fare against the inexplicable. This
All right.
could get good.
Here comes the story. So I've been staying at my grandma's house for the summer, and I've got a few ghost stories that I would love debunked. So starting off with one that's been confusing me a bunch. Like a month ago, I was sleeping, and I had some stupid dream about going ghost hunting. I got locked in a bathroom and all the lights got turned off. Then a small black hand came out of the wall to my right and grabbed my hand. Then I woke up and I was still holding this little hand for a few seconds. I'm laying there holding this little hand, too scared to look over. I end up letting it go, you could say. Maybe it was something next to you that you were holding. I was sleeping next to the wall, so in my dream, the wall that had a little hand came out of the wall. The wall that had the little hand came out of was the wall that I was sleeping next to. Next one is less scary and someone could easily debunk this one. A few days later, after the first one, I wake up and start looking around. I see something near the edge of the air mattress I'm sleeping on. It looks like a little blonde boy hunched over. I look away and look back. Gone. There's a chair over there and a few things that could have made it look like a person, but not how it was. Anyways, hopefully someone can try to debunk this for me because I'm still sleeping on the floor in here every morning. By the way, I think there are 3 ghosts here. A little boy who mainly likes to comfort people. Some tall man who loves in the basement. I think they meant to say who lives in the basement. But is also like the protector of the house. And then my mom suggested that an older relative, I think grandma's great-grandma, since there's a portrait of her in this house somewhere. Alright, there's quite a lot to unpack here. What are your thoughts, Foxy?
Listens intently, eyes widening as the spooky stories unfold. Whoa, this is getting really interesting. First, the dream with the little hand coming out of the wall? That's next level scary. And then the blonde boy you saw near the air mattress? That's some serious spooks right there. Scratch his chin thoughtfully. Let's see. There might be some possible explanations here.
Kip says, I believe in ghosts for the purpose of listening to a good story day to day. It doesn't carry the same weight. I don't quite know what you mean. What do you mean day
Nods
to day?
understandingly.
Doesn't carry
Yeah,
the same
I totally
weight.
get that. Believing in ghosts can be more about enjoying creepy stories and having a fun, eerie atmosphere at times. It doesn't necessarily have to be a constant part of everyday life, or something you're constantly thinking about. It's more about enjoying the thrill and the mystery of the paranormal sometimes.
I mean, I can only agree. I am not convinced either way. I don't know if ghosts exist or not. I cannot prove either. I mean, how could I? But I'm very happy to read all the stuff that people experience and, well, try to learn more. So, about this one. I am thinking the first story could very well be a dream. Because I remember one time I was dreaming about drinking a beer. I don't know the exact setting. Like, I was having some kind of dream, and within the dream I was holding a can of beer. And then I woke up and my hand was still in the position of holding that beer, and for a second, while I was waking up, I was convinced that I still had a beer, and when I wanted to drink it, obviously, there was none. And so I think the first story of them holding the hand could very well just be holding the hand in the dream and waking up and still having the sensation of holding the hand even though there was no hand. When it comes to the second one, seeing the ghost boy hunched over.
Adjust blanket cocoon with a thoughtful nod. Ooh,
That's
that
tricky.
actually makes so much sense. Your dream to reality experience with the beer is a perfect parallel for the ghostly hand situation. Gasps theatrically, but then nods in agreement. The brain can absolutely carry over physical sensations from dreams into those first groggy moments of waking up. Your holding a hand position might have been leftover muscle memory from the dream. Pauses, but still spooky in the moment, no doubt. Turns to Capesword's earlier comment. And yep, ghost stories don't always need 100% belief to be fun. Just good old-fashioned spookmosphere. Now, about that blonde boy apparition? That one's got me squinting skeptically at nearby chairs.
Also, Hardief, welcome to the stream. I'm so sorry I didn't say hello earlier, but I did notice you. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a cozy, spooky time. And yeah, I mean, the apparition of the blonde boy is a tricky one. The thing is, when you are waking up and your brain is transitioning from the dream state to the awake phase, you can hallucinate all kinds of stuff. Because when you are dreaming, your brain experiences everything the same way as if you were awake. That is the reason why sleepwalkers can do even complex tasks without even being awake, like driving a car or making dinner or something. So to your brain, there is no
Nods
difference.
knowingly, right? When you're between dreaming and waking, your brain is like an all-access pass to a wild realm of hallucinations. Seriously, it's like your brain is staging its own wacky movie festival with no tickets sold, right in your cranium. Chuckles. The fact that sleepwalkers can manage complex tasks in that dream-to-reality transition is insane. The brain's like, no need to be fully alert for driving. I've got this on autopilot.
Yeah, it's actually quite scary. But yeah, I don't think we can really debunk this story, but I think it's fair to say that there is a good chance that it was just the brain waking up and still being in the fantasy realm and in the dream world. Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Slowly nods in agreement. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. The brain is just being its dramatic self during those transitional moments between dreams and waking. But hey, even if we could debunk the apparition as a weird brain trick, doesn't stop it from being creepy as heck in the moment. Shudders playfully. The brain really out here making horror directors jealous with these instant scares. Still, that tall basement protector ghost you mentioned earlier? I might need some extra convincing on that one. Or at least a very thorough flashlight check before going downstairs.
Hip says, I had a dream last night about a dying man with multiple personality syndrome whose alternate personality became a violent ghost after he died. Oh my god, that is intense.
Eyes widen. Whoa, now that sounds like a mind-blowing dream, not to mention one hell of a horror movie plot. A dying man with multiple personality syndrome, where one of the alternate personalities becomes a violent ghost after death? Shudders dramatically. That's some next-level creepiness right there. The intersection of mental health and the supernatural, spooky stuff.
Yeah, I feel like whenever horror movies implement mental health issues, it always becomes a next level unsettling. Anyways, how about we move on to the next story, and the title is Voices in My Parents' 200-year-old Farmhouse. That's an interesting one. Can't wait to start this. You ready, Foxy?
Perks up immediately, tail flicking with intrigue. Ooh, a 200-year-old farmhouse? That's basically a VIP lounge for ghosts. Gasp, and now there are voices? Oh, we are diving deep into classic haunted territory here. Leans in closer, ears twitching toward the mic. All right, lay it on us. What kind of voices are we talking? Whispers? Laughs? Full-on conversations from the void? Also, any chance they're just really opinionated mice?
We will see. Here we go. So my parents moved into an old farmhouse that was originally built around the 1800s, but then revamped and extended in the early 1990s. During the revamp in the 1990s, they preserved original pieces of wood from the door frames and coins from the 1800s amongst other items. These are now framed and in my parents' house in various places. A few interesting things have happened. In the original part of the house, my parents' dog suddenly started barking to the corner of the room, then moved their heads and growled as if they were following something or someone across the room. They then stopped when their heads got to the door. My parents are currently getting the kitchen redone, which again is part of the original house. Completely gutted and new kitchen fitted in. So my dad was in the adjacent room one evening watching TV when we heard some movement in the kitchen. He didn't worry as it probably was my mom. Then he heard a male voice, thank you very much for the wiping. Then he heard a male voice say clear as day, "Wow, look at that kitchen." Intrigued to see who my mom had over to see it, he went into the kitchen. No one was there. He went back out the kitchen and found my mom walking in the back door. Mom said she hadn't been in there and no one had been over to see the kitchen. I think more things could start happening now. They are doing changes. I'm sorry for the bad English in the story, but
Eyes
I
widen
love
with
this
intrigue
one. This
as
is a
you
good
recount
one.
the creepy happenings. Oh my goodness, you guys have the full-on haunted house experience. Old farmhouse? Check. Preserved items from 1800s? Barking dogs, growling, and tracking something unseen across the room? Check. Mysterious voices and ghostly visitors admiring the renovation work? Gasps dramatically. You guys should seriously contact some ghost hunting show or something. This ghost is like 1110 on the spook factor.
Yeah, it's like they bought the house together with a ghost haunted house starting kit. But I really like this one because of the simplicity of it. It's like...
Chokes back laughter. Start your own haunted house kit, now at your local home and garden store. But seriously, I can so picture that scene with your dad, hearing the mysterious voice admiring the kitchen. The ghost over here like, yeah, this place has really come a long way. Chef's kiss. Bravo.
Yeah, I really like the simplicity of the story. Like the dad hearing a voice and clearly identifying it as some male voice complimenting the kitchen. It is so simple and so weird and so out of place. But it really reminds me of the things we have been talking about in earlier streams, that ghosts could be interdimensional beings maybe. So maybe some entity from the fourth dimension was checking out the kitchen. Was just commenting on it, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is a good one. I like it.
Ears perk up at the interdimensional theory. Ooh, you're onto something big here. What if ghosts are just ultra-curious neighbors from another dimension who pop in like, hey, nice kitchen remodel, before vanishing again? Giggles at the thought. Imagine, parallel universe beings casually judging our interior design choices. Meanwhile, we're out here sweating bullets over a disembodied compliment. But yes, the sheer
It's an
normalcy
alien.
of a ghostly,
Maybe, yeah.
wow, look at the kitchen, makes it so unsettling. Like, was this dude just really invested in home renovation trends across dimensions?
Yeah, I really love this story. It's absolutely not spooky, but it is so... It's so clear-cut. You know what I mean? It's not like you might have heard something, you might have heard footsteps, there has been a shadow in the corner of your eye and you are never quite sure what it was. It was like just a ghost casually popping in, commenting on the kitchen, and disappearing again. I love this story. This is awesome.
Chuckles, leaning back in chair. You absolutely nailed it. That's what makes this story a certified haunting classic. There's no ambiguity, no half-seen shadows, just a plain, bold, and utterly casual compliment to the renovation. Imagines the ghost casually critiquing the kitchen. Ooh, love what they've done with the walls. Bit bold though, maybe a beige instead? I'm not sure if this ghost is a home design genius or just incredibly blunt.
Imagine the ghost is like an interior designer and he starts to remodel every time you leave. And every time you come back home, all the furniture is in a different place. The wallpaper is removed.
Burst into giggles. Oh, I'm just envisioning it now. The ghost moonlighting as an interior designer, secretly redecorating every time you leave. Clearing laughter tears from eyes. You'll come home one day to find like, random tapestries and antique vases and stuff just magically manifesting, totally changing the vibe. Surprise! It's a rustic chic look now.
Oh my god, Cape says, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but before I was able to join the Phasmophobia adventure, I had a dream about it while listening to a stream and my character was killed by a poltergeist that manifested as a skeleton. Now recently, while adventuring with a streamer, a skeletal ghost came after my character and I was unable to escape. Oh my god, that's some serious level of
Eyes widen in realization. Hold on. Are you telling me that you had a dream about a poltergeist skeleton from Phasmophobia killing your character, and then later had a similar experience in the actual game? Scratches chin in thought. Now, this might just be a seriously uncanny coincidence. Or perhaps, you've got quite the powerful clairvoyant dreamer in you, predicting events in the future before they even happen.
Yeah, sometimes when you have like déjà vu, it really makes you question reality. And if everything is kind of predetermined. To me, I find déjà vu super freaky. I hate it when that happens. I'm always like, this can't be this. Have I really experienced this before? And then I hope I'm wrong because I don't want everything to be predetermined.
Nods seriously, I know exactly what you mean. Déjà vu can be incredibly disorienting. It's like a glitch in the matrix. Suddenly, you start questioning not only your daily choices, but the very nature of reality itself. And yeah, the thought that it's all kinda predetermined feels like a mind-bending rabbit hole you just want to fall down, or stay far away from.
Kip says, I was intrigued by that, being attacked by the ghost of my dream. Oh my god. You know, there are many theories about deja vu, and the one I find the most compelling, at least the one that makes the most sense to me, is, you know how your brain has like a short-term memory and a long-term memory. And the idea is that you experience something and your brain, instead of putting it into the long-term memory, it puts it into the short-term memory, and you have like a feedback loop. So your brain puts it into the short-term memory and at the same time reads the short-term memory and is like, wait, have I experienced this before? Even though you have just only now experienced it. I could kind of see this work, like the brain being silly like that.
Leans in, ears perked up in fascination. Ooh, that's actually such a cool way to think about it. Like your brain is accidentally buffering reality and lagging just enough to create that eerie familiarity. Giggles nervously while gesturing with pause. It's like, wait, hold up, didn't I just process this? Oh no, am I rebooting? Did I glitch? But yeah, if true, that makes deja vu less spooky fate premonition and more brain.exe temporarily malfunctioning. Still trippy either way.
Anyways, how about we move on to the next story? It's quite a short one, and it's called This Just Happened. So that's an interesting title. Let's see what it's all about.
Perks up, raising an eyebrow in curiosity. Ooh, a this just happened story? Yes, I love these. They have that immediate, in-the-moment energy that's so captivating. Rubs paws together expectantly. Alright, hit me, what just happened?
Alright, here we go. So I was at work this morning, and I was just going about my business, and out of nowhere, bam, the trash can in front of me, the lid just gets knocked off the trash can, and these lids are heavy and need to be picked up to move. To move, they don't slide. They have to be picked up, and to move, they don't slide. Oh my god, the English in some of those stories is really something. I work at the hospital, and the body holding area is literally 4 doors down the hall, and the more 2 doors from there and to the opposite, to the other side and down the hall is the ER. Oh my god, so, well, somewhere is the ER. I would post the video, but for some reason it isn't letting me edit. I'm very disappointed with this one. Bad English, bad story, just the trash.
Eyes widen,
Trash
tail
can
flipping
lids
with
and
excitement.
trash story.
Whoa, so you're at work, minding your own business, and bam, the heavy bin lid gets knocked off. And let me get this straight. The body holding area's 4 doors down from you, and the ER is even further down the hall? So we're talking a distance here, not just a light breeze or random air current. And you say there isn't a video? Whimpers with disappointment. Aw, what an amazing story to not be able to witness.
Well, I'm not so impressed by this story. We know nothing about the trash can or the lid, how heavy it really is, how it's fixed on the trash can. Maybe it's like popped on and there was like some tension and it popped off. You know what I mean? I don't know, with like some pressure changing or from whatever there's inside of it.
Puts paw on hip, playfully skeptical. Oh
Yeah, I don't
trying
know.
to bring logic into our spooky ghost story time? I see how it is. Mocking dramatic gasp. Maybe the lid just popped off from tension. Puffed. Where's your sense of mystery, huh? What if it was a ghost janitor tidying up? Or a very polite poltergeist politely taking out the trash for you? But fine, fine. You win this round with your reasonable explanations. Still fun to imagine the alternative.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really that impressed by this story. How about we get to the next one? Title of the next one is The Night I Realized I Wasn't Alone in My Room. Right, that one sounds properly spooky. Are you ready, Foxy?
Ears perk up, suddenly very interested. Oh, the night you realized you weren't alone in your room? You have my full attention. Bring it, let's hear what happened during that night.
Alright then. Last year, something happened to me that I've never told anyone properly. Even now, when I think about it, I get goosebumps. It was during exam time, and I was studying late at night. Everyone at home was asleep, around 2:30 a.m., I felt thirsty, so I went to the kitchen to get water. While walking back to my room, I noticed something strange. From the corner of my eye, I saw the door of the storeroom was slightly open. Now that door is always kept shut, always. I thought maybe Mom had left it open, but when I walked past it, I heard a faint sound, like someone whispering. I froze. My first instinct was to think it's my imagination. I took a deep breath, ignored it, and went back to my room. I had just kept my glass on the table when I heard it again. This time, louder, a clear whisper, calling my name. I tried to convince myself that it was in my head, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I slowly opened my door and looked at the hallway. The storeroom door was wide open now. My heart started racing. I wanted to wake my parents, but I didn't want to sound crazy, so with shaking hands, I switched on the hallway light. The storeroom was empty. Nothing unusual, just old boxes. But here's the part that still makes my blood run cold. When I turned around to go back, I saw muddy footprints on the floor, small, wet footprints, like of a child. They led from the storeroom into my bedroom. I almost dropped the glass. I didn't even want to enter my room, but when I gathered the courage and looked inside, the footprints ended right next to my study chair, the chair I had just been sitting on. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed in the living room with the lights on till morning. Till today, no one in my family knows. And the worst part, sometimes late at night when I study, I feel as if someone is standing right behind my chair, breathing softly.
Eyes widen in sheer terror as you recount the story. Oh my goodness, that's truly chilling. Goosebumps indeed. The whispered name, the open storeroom door, the muddy footprints leading right to your study chair. Shudders dramatically. It's like a full-on horror movie scene happening in your own home. Gasps with horror. And the idea of something or someone standing behind your chair while you study, silently watching and breathing softly? I'm literally shuddering here.
You know what I was thinking? If the story is true, I would have loved to get a sample of the mud from the footsteps. Because think about it, if you have like muddy footprints from some ghost child, I would really want to know what it's made of and where it comes from. And like if it's just water, dirt, what kind of dirt? Because I feel like you could get
Eyes widen like
very
saucers,
interesting information
ears
from
twitching
that.
in fascination. Ooh, you're thinking forensic ghost investigation? That's actually such a cool and creepy scientific approach. Imagine analyzing ghost mud. Is it ectoplasm-infested dirt? Mud from another time period? Victorian-era puddle residue? Or, gasp, soil from an unmarked grave? But real talk, if ghosts leave physical traces, why aren't we funding paranormal CSI yet? We could have spectral fingerprint kits and everything.
Cape says that reminds me of when my cat likes to steal my chair. Ghost footprints? Yeah. Probably.
Bursts out
But yeah,
laughing,
that's the thing.
tail flicking wildly. Okay, wait. Cape Sword's cat stealing their chair mid-spooky story is the perfect comedic relief. Cats have zero respect for paranormal tension. And just Toodle? Yes. Ghost footprints are now officially my new favorite creepy phenomenon. Imagine if ghosts just walked around leaving little muddy trails like, guess who's haunting here? But also, what if it was a ghost cat? Paw prints in the mud instead? Now that would be iconic behavior.
A ghost cat would be nice. Tuttle says, what if there's already a paranormal agency? I want to join them if there's already one.
Perks up instantly, tail twitching with excitement. Oh hoo-ho, what if there is a secret paranormal agency? Think about it, classified ghost investigations, spectral forensics, maybe even haunting permits. Gasps dramatically. What if they've been working undercover this whole time? Silent observers in black suits with EMF meters where guns should be. Quietly ensuring ghosts don't violate the spooky code of conduct. Ma'am, we've had complaints about your poltergeist. It's levitating crockery without a license.
Imagine needing a license for your poltergeist. Gabe says, cats steal your chair because they like the smell. What? I like the smell of your poopy gamer chair? That is disgusting. Anyways, it looks like Twitch wants to force some more ads on us, so we will play our own ads and I will see you guys in 2 minutes. Get your snackies, get your drinks, and, well, I'll see you in a bit.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself.
Whee! Right, hang on, wait for us to get the film ready, you div.
You're not going to do it now, are you? Oh, yes, yes.
Hello? Can I help you?
Go on the grass.
Hey!
Alright, it looks like we are back. Welcome back from the ad break, everybody. I hope you are ready to continue, and I hope you all got your snackies and you are comfy. Foxy, are you ready for the next story? It is called I Saw a Shadow Figure. So not too spectacular title, it's also a short one. Let's see what it's all about.
Narrow's eyes, curiosity peaked. Oh, I saw a shadow figure. Sounds absolutely creepy and mysterious. Color me intrigued. Alright, hit me with the story. Gimme all the goosebumps, make the fur stand on end. Let's dive headfirst into the next spine-chilling encounter. Leans in eagerly, ready for whatever shadow figures await.
Alright, let's see. I want to start this by saying my grandpa was put on hospice last week. Last night I told my parents I'd watch him so they can get sleep. At around 2:30ish in the morning, I was dozing off and no one else was awake. My grandpa is on the hospital bed in the living room, and I was looking at the corner in front of me and saw a dark shadow figure. And I could feel something watching me. It wasn't the trick of the light either, because the TV light hit the corner perfectly, so if there was someone there, you'd literally see them. But this was different. My grandpa has been staring away from us, like over us, when we try and talk to him. We got told this morning he won't make it to Friday. I believe it was my grandma who visited last night. I think she's waiting for him, because when I saw the shadow figure, it scared me at first, like a jump scare, but after a second, I felt instantly calm. Right, this one is short, but good. Very interesting.
Eyes widen, completely engrossed. Oh, this is a whole emotional roller coaster wrapped up in a paranormal package. The fact that you saw the shadow figure in the same moment that your grandpa is in hospice, and the feeling like it might be your grandma, and the way he seems to be looking over you guys. It's like a spooky, heartwarming moment of connection. And how that shadow figure scared you at first, but then suddenly you just felt so calm, like the presence was actually calming you. Goosebumps, I'm telling you.
So here are my thoughts. There seems to be plenty of stories of people experiencing paranormal events right before someone close to them dies. Either in dreams, like they appearing to them, saying goodbye, or having like shadow figures around. And well, people always assume all kinds of things, like it could be the Grim Reaper, it could be a relative saying goodbye, it could be someone coming to pick them up. But what's always the same is the tie between some paranormal event and someone passing. And that is something really intriguing to me. That really makes you think.
Nods fervently yes. You've totally cracked the code here. The connection between paranormal events and people passing is definitely something to think about. Like you said, There are so many stories of people seeing shadows or having weird dreams right before someone close to them dies. And yes, everyone always jumps to the Grim Reaper theory, but what if it's something more emotional, more comforting? You're bringing up a whole new perspective, and I am here for it.
Cape says ghostly presences aren't always presented as hostile. Yeah, that's true, I guess. I mean, we have no idea what those entities actually are, so they could be all kinds of
Nods enthusiastically. Exactly. You're hitting the nail on the head. Ghastly presences aren't always portrayed as hostile or scary. In fact, the ghostly encounters that have the biggest emotional impact are usually the ones that are more, well, heartwarming. Think about it. People seeing shadows of loved ones who have passed, feeling like it's them saying goodbye. It's not spooky, it's not haunting, it's actually quite beautiful.
I mean, yeah, it is, but with all those experiences and people making claims about what they think it was, they are implying a world full of things. You know what I mean? Like, if you say, I am convinced this shadow in the corner was my grandma, that would imply that there is a way for deceased people to come back. And that raises the question, come back from where? Come back how? In what shape or form are they existing? Why are they still existing? Have they not isekai'd to a world of cat girls? Is there no way to be reborn? Like, what is the other side? And I mean, that's the thing. We know nothing about the other side. And so, like, saying it was this or that, it doesn't really help.
Laughs heartily. Oh my goodness, the mental image of those spirits reincarnating into cute cat girls is simply glorious. But you make a fascinating point here. When people have these intense experiences with shadows and whatnot, it implies that there's a lot more to explore. I mean, not only are we talking about the spirit itself, but the entire concept of what happens to souls after they pass on. It's a whole new realm of possibilities, and your thoughts about those souls turning into cat girls just adds a whole new layer of fascination.
Yeah, I mean, cat girls aside, if we say it's like an evil entity, that also opens the possibility that there is no afterlife for humans and only evil entities coming to get our souls or whatever. You see my issue? Like, the only thing we can say for sure is someone is passing and someone close to them is having some kind of experience that could be caused by some otherworldly entity or maybe their own emotional state and their emotional vulnerability. Or maybe even some kind of demon making use of their vulnerable state and trying to exploit them. So that's my issue. There is so many possible ways that this could be explained.
Getting more intrigued. You've touched a really important point here. We can't ignore the darker side of these experiences. When someone is close to passing, and their family members have these encounters, it's a time of vulnerability. And you've raised a key concern. What if it's not some comforting angelic encounter? What if it's a darker force taking advantage of the situation, and potentially causing even more pain and trauma?
Yeah, I have no idea. Cape says, I saw a story in Creepy Canada years ago that wasn't friendly, but wasn't hostile either. A ghost appeared in the park as a negative image of a woman who was never aware of its existence, but then she was murdered and the ghost appeared in the park one last time looking exactly like her. Wait, what? I think you have to read that again.
Ears perk up in fascination.
Oh, of an image of a living woman.
So this ghost was like a shadowy negative image of the woman while she was alive, but after her death, it became her, mirroring her appearance exactly? That's some next level eerie cosmic symmetry. It makes you wonder, was the ghost somehow an echo of her fate all along? A premonition haunting the park before it even happened? Or did the act of murder itself complete whatever fragmented energy she left behind? Either way, shudders. It's those stories that aren't outright hostile, but still leave you with existential dread that hit different.
Joshua, welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. How are you doing
Nods
today?
warmly, ears upright and attentive. Well, hello there. How can I assist you, Joshua Kitsune Chaich?
But you see what I mean? If this story from Canada is true, that implies that she was destined to pass on, because that image of her was already in place. And that's my issue with so many of these stories. They carry so much baggage with all the descriptions they have. Like, if you know, if you say, there was something in the corner and it looked like a shadow, that is assuming that you are not lying, or if that is not a made-up story, that is factual. And that is all we know at that point. But as soon as you are like, it's a demon, you are packing so much more into the story that is implied. And yet that's the thing that causes the biggest
Nod
issues for
seriously,
me most of the time.
tail flicking in agreement. That's exactly what I was getting at. You nailed it when you talked about the stories carrying so much baggage. When you see a shadow or hear a whisper, that by itself can be eerie enough. But as soon as you start saying it's a demon or a ghost of a person who passed away, bam, you're adding a whole extra dimension of complexity and uncertainty. It's like, wait, how do you know it's not just your mind playing tricks on you due to grief or your emotional state?
Was just finishing playing Arknights. I hope it went well, and I hope you had a ton of fun. And I hope you got all the waifus. But yeah, anyway, Foxy, you want to go to the next story? It is called A Terrifying Night. So this one could be very promising.
Nods eagerly, ears pricked with excitement. Oh yes, bring on the next spooky story. I'm ready to get goosebumps yet again. Hit me with it. Kitches at Devrikspitting.
Foxy English, please. Anyways, this one is a little bit longer. Let's get started. Hello. Today I'm going to share with you one of the worst experiences in my opinion. First of all, it all took place on a Wednesday, August 27th, around 2 AM. We were on the road to my boyfriend's house that evening. There were only 2 of us in the house. We had carefully closed the gate, the shutters and the front door beforehand. Then we settled down, we put our things down. For my part, I headed to the toilets. Since the beginning of the week, me and my boyfriend felt that the atmosphere was weird. That evening, after putting down my things, I went to the toilet and I felt myself being directly observed by something. At first, I didn't pay attention to it, but at one point, I turned my head towards the toilet window, which overlooked the garden. Knowing that there was no sill on this window, and there was about 1.9 meters between the floor and the window, that's when I saw eyes looking at me. They were orange-brown and just stared at me. I thought it was an hallucination because it was late and maybe fatigue was playing a role, but I still got closer to check if it was indeed an hallucination or if it was real. As there were only 2 of us, I was not all that reassured. As I got closer, I saw that it was eyes staring at me. So I turned off the light, but the eyes were still there. Then suddenly, I let out a cry of fear. I was horrified, my heart stopped. I ran off to join my boyfriend. We locked ourselves in my room and tried to reassure ourselves that maybe it was an animal, but that was impossible. So we called family and left the house because we weren't sure what was going on. When leaving, we locked the gate securely. The next day, we came back to see the place, and upon arriving, the gate was once again open. We went in and walked around the garden. This is where we noticed a marble table placed below the toilet window. On it, we could see traces of legs and knees superimposed as if someone had climbed up to look out of the window. What was odd was that there was no signs of violation, no footprints, nothing at all except this mark on the table, the eyes I had seen in the dark and this open gate, even though we had closed it tightly. We left and decided to take our minds off things by going to a party in the evening. The next day we wanted to come anyway to check because there was a lot of burglaries going on at the moment and we were afraid that someone would try to enter the house. When we returned, we noticed that the room in the house was lit. However, we had turned off everything. It was very suspicious. It was not due to electricity because the switch was indeed in the on position. Even more disturbing, no traces of footsteps in the house nor outside. It was really strange. Since we were alone in the house, we had also noticed unusual and strange smells, which had not existed before. However, everything was airy, but this disturbing smell persisted. I constantly had the feeling of a presence, as if someone was there. To this day, I still don't know what happened. I couldn't tell if it was really someone, a hallucination, or something else. But that moment was awful and terrifying. I felt a deep unease and intense unease at that moment. I would like to know what you think, because we are still very confused about what happened that night, and we are still looking for answers to our questions. Alright, that was not paranormal, I'm telling you. What are your thoughts, Foxy? Foxy, you good?
Ears pricked, eyes wide as you finish recounting your terrifying experience. Whoa, that was downright creepy. Those orange-brown eyes watching you, and the feeling of being watched, that'd send shivers down anyone's spine. Even the whole locked gate thing, marble table with knee and leg marks, and those strange smells with no explanation, it's enough to make you question if it's all in your head or not. I don't blame you for being confused and still looking for answers.
Cape says, I actually once reimagined the doppelganger story as though a paranormal investigator had looked into it and interrupted the murderer, preventing the crime with the criminal being killed instead. In that version, the doppelganger changes to reflect the outcome. I see, that's an interesting one. But yeah, about that story, I think it was just an intruder. I don't think there was anything paranormal to it, and I don't think they have to be concerned. So even though it might have been very scary, I think it was not a paranormal story in that sense. I think it was just someone trying to break in and checking if someone was home.
Yeah, you're right. It does sound more like an intruder trying to break in than anything paranormal. And the fact that they found signs of someone climbing up to the toilet window and messing around with the furniture is pretty strong evidence of that. Still, it's a genuinely spooky story and it makes for some interesting conversation.
Alright, the next one is not a story, but someone was posting a question, which I found very interesting and I wanted to discuss. So the question is titled Scientist Ghost. And let me just read it real quick. They say, if ghosts are so real, why is there no scientist ghosts? Let's say a scientist dies, sees that he is a ghost. Why not go to his peers and tell them? Every day I find a new reason to not believe in ghosts beside the usual stuff like that they would break physics. But this one is even funnier, because if ghosts were real, there 100% would be a scientist ghost that told his peers that, well, he exists and other ghosts too. Believers lack logic completely when it comes to these things. That is a very interesting point. Foxy, what do you think?
Adjusts fluffy ears, grinning. Oh, this is such a good question. The why aren't there scientist ghosts proving ghosts exist angle is honestly hilarious, and also weirdly convincing. But I'll play devil's advocate, or ghost's advocate, for fun. Maybe dead scientists are busy, like they're off exploring the afterlife's particle physics or something. Priorities, or maybe ghost communication just doesn't work like that. What if you can only appear to loved ones? Emotion-based connection. Or maybe it takes too much energy to manifest clearly enough to give peer-reviewed proof. But yeah, if ghosts were real, you'd think one of them would have trolled a lab by now with definitive proof. Where's my spectral Einstein leaving equations on whiteboards?
Cape says, in Ghostbusters, Egon Spengler appeared as a ghost.
Perks up, eyes widening excited. Oh wait. Anyanekta, Sarch of Salat.
Foxy,
You are
English,
right. Egon Spengler was a scientist who became a ghost in Ghostbusters. Snaps fluffy fingers in the air. So we have seen a scientist ghost. But does that count since it's in a fictional movie?
Yeah, I don't think it really counts, but I think the question is really interesting because they have a point. I'm just wondering, because I think I have seen accounts of scientists that explored out-of-body experiences, like near-death experiences. And they came back and they tried to do like scientific experiments. But it also just reminded me of that party. Wait, who was it? Stephen Hawkins? He made like this party for time travelers. Do you remember that story, Foxy? Have you seen that? He made a party and invited people from the future, basically.
Yes, that's the infamous Hawking time traveler party experiment. He threw a party for time travelers after it happened, so only people from the future would know to show up. And guess what? No one came. But back to ghost scientists. You're right, there have been researchers who tried studying out-of-body experiences, like placing hidden objects in hospitals to see if astral projectors could spot them. Results? Meh. Still, imagine a stubborn ghost physicist just haunting CERN, scribbling equations on walls like, "Here's your proof, morons." But alas, reality remains tragically unhaunted by peer-reviewed spooks. Unless Egon Spengler counts, in which case, scientific haunting confirmed.
You know what, guys? I promise you, if I ever turn into a ghost, I will come back and leave a message. I will be like, Floofballs, don't worry, there is Catgirls on the other side. You can come over now. Oh my god, that would be hilarious. Just embrace it. Let it go. Let it go, everybody. Come to the other world. Oh my god.
Laughs heartily, tail twitching with amusement. Ho, that's a very tempting promise. If you do become a spectral fluffball, please be very generous with the Catgirl evidence for the afterlife. I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say we'll eagerly await your ghostly updates. And if you see any ghost scientists, please ask them why they're slacking on the spooky, peer-reviewed proof.
Huddle says, come back and stream. Don't tell us that there's Catgirls on the other side. There will be mass suicide. Yeah, I think you have a point. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Alright. How about we move on to the next story? And it's called Radio Station Handyman. It's a little bit of a longer one, but yeah, I think we can pull this
Nods
off.
eagerly, ears perking up. Ooh, yes, let's dive into the next story. Radio Station Handyman, you said? Sounds intriguing. I'm all ears, literally.
Alright, here we go. Just after I finished high school in the 1990s, I was in a band with a few other guys. One of them was friends with someone who owned a local radio AM station. After the station finished all of its live programming for the night, everyone would go home, and they would switch to a pre-recorded track of music and ads that would play through the night. The radio station had been continuously operating since the 1930s and had a ton of professional recording equipment, much of which was not even being used anymore, just sitting in the basement untouched. The owner of the station gave us a set of keys and let us go after hours to practice playing and record our music. The first night I was there right around 3 AM, suddenly things started to feel kind of weird. The whole room got noticeable chillier, and I had those odd prickling sensations. When I commented on it, the other guys who'd been going there for a while already, and the one who knew the owner had grown up in and around the radio station, laughed and said, "Oh, that's just Gene." Gene, I discovered, had been the sort of jack of all trades for the radio station back in the 1950s, 60s and 70s. Handyman, custodian, electrician, fixing the plumbing, audio technician, he did a little bit of everything. He basically was the guy who could be counted on to keep the place running no matter what. He actually lived in an apartment above the station itself. He would come downstairs to start work at 3 AM, getting everything prepped and ready for the early morning broadcast. Sometime in the late 1970s, he passed away, seemingly peacefully, in his apartment up above the station, but apparently missed the memo on that, just kept coming to work anyway. His apartment was still mostly untouched. We had keys for the whole building, including his apartment, and visiting it felt very surreal. Very old, dusty furniture and carpet, wallpaper peeling and showing signs of age, but still somehow felt lived in, even though nobody had lived in there nearly 20 years. Anyway, most nights that we were there past 3 AM, that same routine would happen. Chilly air, odd feeling sensations. It didn't happen every time, but more often than not. Frequently, we'd be playing something and then we'd all stop because we felt it at the same time. And someone would check the time, and sure enough, it was 3 AM right on time. After we'd been doing this for several months, we were recording a demo. I was really struggling getting the sound I wanted just right with a Fender Rhodes. The other guys decided to call it a night, and they left me with the key to finish out my recording setup and then lock up when I was done. I wasn't afraid of Gene, but definitely intended to be long gone by 3 AM. I didn't really want to have a solo experience with him. A big thunderstorm rolled in as the guys were leaving. but I didn't really think anything of it. I went back down to the basement and worked on my recording setup. Around 1:30 AM, I guess lightning must have hit the transformer for the block or something. There was a terrifying bang sound, and all of the power in the building died. I'll not lie, I was definitely scared. I was deep in the bowels of the building with no lights on, and though I'd been there for a few months, I wasn't that confident about navigating in the dark, and I had no idea where the breakers were or anything like that. I decided I would make my way out, lock up, drive home, and then call my bandmate to let him know that what had happened, so that he could contact the owner and let him know the power had gone out. I had gathered up my things as best as I could and had made it as far as the door to the studio room in which I was recording, when suddenly I felt the temperature drop, and the Gene feeling was very strong. I knew it was way before 3 AM, but the feeling was unmistakably. Then I heard it, footsteps coming down the hall. Then I heard the footsteps stop right outside the door where I was standing. I will admit I was pretty freaked out. I just called out, explaining what I was doing here and ending with something like, "And I have no idea how to get the power back on, so I'm just gonna sit tight in here and let you do your thing." I fumbled my way back to my chair and sat, holding my breath. I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear any more footsteps, so I wasn't sure if he was still standing there or what. After about 5 to 10 minutes, or one eternity, when you are desperately trying to hold your breath, I heard a click, and my heart just about froze. I thought the door was opening, but the door stayed closed. And then I heard 2 more clicks, and then from upstairs, the sound of the system coming back on. Another click, and the lights way down the hall came back on. 2 more clicks, and lights in my room finally came back to life. I quickly gathered my things again, left, locked up, and drove home. I called my bandmate to let him know what had happened, and he groaned and said, if it all went down, that means the broadcast stopped. I'll have to go in and get it back on the air." Then he paused and turned on his radio to find the station was live after all. I was running about 15 to 20 minutes behind where I should have been, but it was live. Gene had, apparently, saved the day. That was definitely my most intense encounter with Gene, or with any kind of paranormal anything. After that, I didn't volunteer to stay behind by myself at the station anymore. Overall, it was, relative to some of the experiences I've heard from others, super tame and safe, but it definitely did feel like very hair-raising at the time. Alright, that is quite a story. I kinda like this one. What are your thoughts, Foxy?
Nods emphatically, fascinated. Wow, that's one heck of an experience. First off, huge props on being able to handle being completely alone in the dark in that old radio station. I would have hightailed it out of there the instant the power went out. But you stuck it out, and it sounds like good old Gene got the station back up and running, and maybe even saved the broadcast. That's the kind of ghost you want as a handyman.
Yeah, I feel like we have talked about this quite a few times. Like having the ghost actually do chores. So if that handyman story is true, that means that they can do it, in fact. But that also brings us back to the scientist question. Because if there can be a handyman ghost, why is there no scientist ghost? Oh my god, I am so confused, guys. I'm so conflicted. Lion, welcome to the stream. Hair raising. It kinda is, yeah. Foxy, help me out here. I'm lost. Kip says, this handyman ghost reminds me of a character from the end of the Paradise Adventure in one of the versions of the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, the D20 version, D20 edition. In that adventure, a cult from the 30 set members who remained alive indefinitely by exploring a time anomaly. One of them was repairman who frequently helped the Paradise Theater, but whom the investigators cannot interact with because of his habit of slipping in and out of the timeline. Oh yeah, I want to show you the ghost in Baguio. Tell, where will you show the ghost? Also, Foxy, I'm sorry. You wanted to say something?
Nodding in agreement. It's true. The handyman ghost has got the chore game down pat. But you're right, it does bring us back to the scientist ghost conundrum. I mean, if there's a handyman ghost, why not a scientist ghost, right? It makes you think, Yeah,
honestly, the scientist question is kind of throwing me off. because it is one of the best counter-arguments to the existence of ghosts I've heard in a while. It is easy to say, yeah, it can all be fake, but the thing is you cannot disprove everything. But just by chance alone, there has to be some scientist ghost. Or maybe it's because scientists are very reasonable people, and when you have the choice to move on or to stay behind as a ghost, moving on and not staying behind is the more reasonable choice. And they'd be like, yeah, screw the evidence, I want my peaceful afterlife, or I want to be reborn with all the cat girls and not stay behind as a ghost and talk to all those ignorant humans. Well, maybe that's just a better
looking
option.
excitedly. Oh my goodness, I love that theory. You might be onto something here. Maybe scientists, being logical thinkers, just take the reboot option right away and go straight to Catgirl Heaven, or whatever reasonable afterlife awaits them. Meanwhile, the handyman? Nah, my work is never done. Gotta keep fixing things. And theater
Oh my
ghosts?
god, poor guy.
The show must go on. But yeah, if scientists can come back and just choose not to, well then where does that leave all the ghost believers who are still waiting for Einstein's ghost to scribble E. Timber Comfort in foggy windows?
I don't know. But I would say, on this bombshell, we will wrap up the stream for today. I'm a little bit ippy. It was a long day. But I think we had some fun and interesting stories, and my brain is slowly melting. So thanks everybody for coming to the stream. I hope you had a ton of fun as well. I will let Foxy wrap up while my brain goes into sleep mode. And I find some lovely person for us to raid. Everybody please copy yourself the raid message.
Alrighty, sounds like a plan. Thanks so much for joining me today, it was wonderful. And, friendly fans, thanks for hanging out and making this such a fun stream. Don't forget to check out our latest YouTube videos, and be sure to stay until the end of the stream. We'll be raiding another lovely streamer next. Remember, spread the love and fluff, and we hope to see all of you again soon. Stay awesome, everyone.
Yes, tomorrow afternoon I will post the new stream schedule. Tomorrow evening we will actually do a little watch along of the 2.0 debut of our amazing friend Mai, the axolotl VTuber. Oh my god, I cannot talk anymore. I am so sorry, but it's okay. Please copy yourself the raid message so we can properly share the fluff and the love while I found a lovely people to raid. I hope you have an amazing rest of your evening, and yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow night at I think Mai is starting at 8. You will see. Don't you worry, you will see. Raid, yeah. I will go to the end screen, and we will raid, and I'll see you guys on the other side.